Hey, every team has that one process that feels broken, where deadlines slip and errors keep popping up and everyone gets frustrated. What if there was a method so powerful that it saved GE $12 billion and helped Amazon achieve nearly perfect shipping accuracy? Well, there is. It's called Six Sigma. And today, I will show you how even small teams can use it to eliminate inefficiencies, reduce errors, and deliver results that stick. Hey, welcome back. For our newcomers, we are all about making project management click. And last time, we explored hybrid project management, which actually was part of a smaller series embedded within this larger one about project management methodologies. We looked first at waterfall or traditional sequential project management. We looked at the agile mindset. We looked at Scrum and Kanban, and then of course, hybrid project management. And today, we're gonna take a look at Six Sigma and see how it can transform your approach to quality. So let's start at the very bottom. What is Six Sigma? Well, it is a disciplined, data-driven methodology which is aimed at eliminating defects and reducing variation in processes. The name comes from statistics, where achieving Six Sigma means your process produces just 3.4 defects per million opportunities. Look at that number again. Try to let that sink in, because that's crazy. Just 3.4, just under 3.5 defects per million opportunities. That is as close to perfect as most processes can realistically get. It started at Motorola in the 1980s, but quickly spread beyond manufacturing, and today it lives in various industries like healthcare, banking, hospitality, and retail. Matter of fact, I learned about it over 20 years ago in banking. Here's a couple examples of companies that have improved the way they work with Six Sigma. Virginia Mason Medical Center, for example, cut their medication errors by 74%. HSBC cut loan approvals from 3 days to just 24 hours. And Amazon, they claim to ship with a 99.99% accuracy. But why does this work? It's because it's not all about quick fixes. It's about finding the real causes of problems and creating solutions that last. And how do we do that? Well, at the heart of Six Sigma is the DMAIC framework. It's spelled DMAIC. It's a structured, 5-phase approach to solving problems and improving processes. So let's start with the first one, define. We clearly identify the problem, the goals, and the customer's requirements. And in this phase, we're answering the most foundational, basic, and most important questions. Like, what problem are we trying to solve? Who is our customer? And what do they need? And what are the boundaries of this process? And those boundaries are important. Remember in a previous video, I talked about scope creep and how you need to prevent that. Well, this is no different. This is just a different process, a different framework that we do this in, but we still don't want scope to creep out. So we need to put those boundaries in place. Now, Starbucks is a great example where when they did this define process, they targeted their drink consistency across their locations. And if you know anything about Starbucks, you can find one just about on every street corner across the world. And you also would know then that they make their drinks consistent now between those locations because they've been able to define that need. Our next one, number 2, is measure. And we use this phase to collect data to establish a baseline of our current performance. And just like anything else, if we don't have a good baseline, we won't know where the problems are at, and we won't know where we need to go with them. And we won't know what the end result is that we want. So we need to have a good baseline of our current performance. During this phase, we will identify what problems and what things we want to measure. We develop a data collection plan, and we gather data on our current performance. Which leads us to our third phase, to analyze. We use all the data we just collected to identify the root causes of problems. And for root cause analysis, just a little side note, you can use a couple different tools. Some of my favorites are the 5 whys, where you have an opportunity to behave like a 5-year-old and ask why until you can get down to a point where you can't ask why anymore. And that kind of is your good starting point for a root cause. You can also do a fishbone analysis as well. So during the analysis phase, we will examine patterns and the relationships within the data. We will identify potential root causes and validate which causes are actually contributing to the problem. Here's a great example, United Airlines. They analyzed their flight delay data, and you won't believe what they found. They found that their flight delays were not due to external factors out of their control, such as weather or air traffic, but it was really largely due to their boarding process. It was one of the key things that they could control. And matter of fact, this was the primary controllable factor affecting on-time departures. So that leads us to step 4, improve. So during this stage, we develop and test and implement solutions to address those root causes we've just defined. In this phase, we will brainstorm potential solutions. We will test those solutions out on a small scale, and then we'll implement the most effective ones, and then scale them out. So United Airlines, after analyzing their boarding processes, they implemented a new boarding method that reduced boarding time by 6 minutes per flight. And you might think, 6 minutes, it's not a whole lot of time. But when you compound that over flight after flight after flight, all across the world, well, that's going to save millions of dollars annually and improve customer satisfaction. And then that leads us to our last phase, control. During this phase, we establish our methods to maintain the improvements over time. And in this phase, we will document those improved processes, we will implement monitoring systems, and we are going to create response plans for when anything indicates that we have any sort of problems. Now, you may remember back to my video on Kanban, where Toyota is really actually famous for introducing that Kanban system. It's a visual management board that immediately signals when processes drift from their standards. And this is all a Six Sigma process. So let's take a look at Six Sigma in action with just a quick example. So let's say your team processes expense reports and employees are complaining that reimbursements take 14 days. Well, let's apply the DMAIC framework to this. First, we want to define what the problem is and what we want to do about it. So the problem is it takes 14 days. And let's say we want to cut that down by 9 days. We want to cut it down to 5. Well, now we need to do some measurements. And we find that there are 9 days that are wasted waiting for approvals. So after our measurements, we do some analysis, and we find that there are 3 causes. There are delayed notifications, missing information, and too many signatures. So now we can actually go in and begin to set up some improvements. So to deal with the delayed notifications, we create a workflow with automated notifications to let those people know that they have a thing that they need to approve. To deal with our missing info, we create a better submission form with all of the fields that we need to get this process completed. And too many signatures? Well, let's create a tiered approval platform so that lower dollar amounts are approved maybe at the unit manager or departmental manager levels, all the way up to the CFO. In doing that, now you just need to get a couple signatures or potentially even one for most of those smaller purchases. And then our last phase is to control. So we're going to monitor this whole process with a new dashboard and review outliers weekly, and then we're going to train new managers. In this fictional project, our reports now indicate that we dropped down from 14 days to 4, and satisfaction jumps 65%. If you're already seeing how Six Sigma could fix your bottlenecks, please do me a huge favor and hit the like button so that more people struggling with broken processes can find this video. I'm particularly passionate about process analysis and process improvement. That's where I started. And I know that it is super useful. And it's something that I use in my project management to this day, 20 years later. Also, let me know in the comments, what is one process in your work that desperately needs fixing? We might be able to turn that into a future case study or a future video. And here's your pro tip. You don't need to be a statistician to apply Six Sigma. Start with just one recurring activity and map out each step and highlight where delays or mistakes happen and collect basic data. Often, those numbers alone will reveal where to act first. So to wrap all of this up, Six Sigma is about building systems that work consistently. By focusing on our root causes and sustainable solutions, it helps teams deliver quality results again and again and again. Hey, in our next video, we're going to shift gears and we're going to start taking a look at some of the different project management tools that are out there. And we're going to start with Asana, which is a great tool that can help you put some of these methods into practice. Again, if this helped, please share it with someone who you think will benefit from it. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Hey, I want to thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.